there is no religious text or spiritual text that you can memorize front to back to front, verbatim, word for word, that makes you more spiritually led than another. It can give you an advantage in how you're spiritually led, but just because you have the Bible memorized does not mean you are spiritually led. It does not mean you have spiritual superiority over another either. Hello lovelies, welcome back to another video. I want to yap about what it means to truly be spiritually led versus emotionally led, because we live in a society or world where I'd argue a majority of individuals are emotionally led and identify with their emotions versus identifying with their soul, meaning they allow their emotions to control them and their reality, and they invest all their energy on fixating on a specific emotion rather than acknowledging the emotion, acknowledging what it is presenting or telling you about your reality or certain circumstance, releasing it, and furthermore, alchemizing and just focusing on yourself in love. Because to be spiritually led means you have an immense faith in yourself. You have mastered discernment, meaning you understand your perception of reality and how that influences your perception of others. And you are okay with forever evolving, never being one version for all eternity. And that's not something many people are comfortable with. Not everyone's going to tell you they love change. For so long, I hated change. But now I'm at a place where I love to be an individual whom is forever evolving and forever bettering my understanding of myself and having an immense faith in myself in the unknown. Thus, my spirit is forever guiding me. Because your emotions are loud, but what your emotions are tools into better understanding how you are perceiving reality or a certain circumstance in this very moment. Anger reveals what you fear, what you are uncomfortable with. Envy and jealousy reveal what desire you wish you had or what you wish to be doing. And your desires are your destinies. They are obtainable, but it's through aligned actions and having a faith and belief in yourself that you obtain your desires. Not saying those that work hard get paid the most, because money does not know hard work. It just knows who is open and receptive to it. But your desires are your destinies. And greed shows you what you wish to control. Same with pride. Pride reveals where you are insecure. And entitlement views what you fear letting go. What you fear experiencing as well. Because I believe there is healthy entitlement. You should have boundaries. That's what entitlement is having a boundary or a belief, I am worthy of this. But when your entitlement begins to contort or depend on controlling another, you feel entitled to being the puppeteer to another's life, that's where we've crossed the line. That's where we're being manipulative and we are doing harm to another, because you can never control another's life or perception of you or the assumptions they make. That's up to the other individual. But what you can control is your perception of reality, your understanding of yourself, and how much of a faith you have in yourself and the unknown over being continually reassured by others' acceptance or circumstances happening. I hope I made that clearly. But to be spiritually led is to just use your emotions as navigation to your perception of reality, and furthermore alchemize those emotions into being fuel to you pursuing your passions, bettering your health, being open and receptive to continually growing and learning about this world and what it means to be human. If I've learned anything from pursuing a degree in theology, world religion studies, it's that a lot of cultures, religions, spiritual texts, spirituality practices all preach the same thing, which is the divine is love, and to be one with the divine is to have immense self-love and self-knowing, especially in how you are supposed to do good in the society, aka what your vocation or calling is, and how you're unique and are the divine personified and immortal being. So there is no one religion or spiritual text that is going to make you more spiritually led over another. Everyone just has a different way of enunciating or illustrating what they believe love and the divine to be. And if we really want to boil it down, all religions and spiritual texts show us is a culture's current perspective of the divine. And when you study a bunch, you come to really have an immense appreciation for how the human mind and consciousness has evolved and how that perspective has changed. We do not think the same way that Neanderthals did because of evolution and how humanity has evolved. So when you begin to go on your spiritual journey and start learning about a ton of other cultures' perspective, you grow more of an appreciation for your own, but also humanity's. It's really beautiful. If I can encourage anything, study multiple religious texts or spiritual texts. But there is none that is going to give you more spiritual superiority over another. I think all religious texts and spiritual texts have nuggets of wisdom, and all they do is highlight patterns that have been noticed since the dawn of time about humanity and nature, or humanity in the cosmos. And they really illustrate how that perception has evolved over centuries and how it stayed the same, what patterns continue to stay the same, i.e. numerology, astrology, cosmology, and how they've shifted, how they've differed. Because Neanderthals had a very agricultural way of thinking. But then once we got to a cosmopolitan society and we became more animalistic, that thinking 180 entirely. And that's where we kind of still remain today. I have a speech for another day of how we live in America in particular, in a very Christian Judaic society that is governed by Roman Greco scientific thinking, and how that is just such a dichotomy of a statement, because the Greco-Romans were very much polytheistic in their thinking, and Judaic Christians are not. And Greco-Romans are very science fact-based. Judeo-Christians are not, although they'll argue that their Bibles, their mythologies are factual. And they hold some facts, but at the end of the day, all religious texts and spiritual texts are mythologies and cultures' various stories of their perception of the divine in reality. So, to be spiritually led is to understand your emotions but release their control over you. There have been many instances where I have been in fits of rage, consumed by grief, and those are two expensive emotions that if you dwell in, they will control you. But your soul will never stay in one emotion because no emotion is permanent. They're forever changing. They're like waves. They come and go. And in those instances of rage or grief, my soul has said, but why don't we just release this? Why don't we acknowledge this shows us where we're uncomfortable, and we use that to fuel us doing better, thinking a new way, showing up in reality, not engaging with this individual, setting a new boundary. The more you come to learn who you are and you're calling your perception of reality and others, the more you are spiritually led. Because you are not only receptive to an eternity of evolution and learning about yourself and others, but you place such an immense faith in yourself and the unknown that it makes you uncontrollable to others. Because at the end of the day, you know what's best for you, and you're not going to let another tell you what's best for you. So, that was kind of today's video. I just saw a meme on Instagram the other day, and I've lost it. I wish I had it on my phone. That was like, mind your business, your assumptions of me died an hour ago because I'm eternally evolving and I'm not the same person I was an hour ago. And facts. I feel I'm forever evolving, and I love that. And the more comfortable I've gotten in it, and asked myself, well, what does this emotion reveal to me about where I need to put more faith in myself, where I need to increase my love, where I need to fix a certain behavior or ideology in order to obtain this desire, the more I have been spiritually led, and the more boundaries I've set with others, because you need to have a certain level of entitlement, as I've discussed, and set boundaries with people and also yourself. Entitlement is not bad by any means, nor do I think manipulation is, because manipulation is just the control of one's perception or the attempt to control another's perception. But in talking about manipulating your own perception, we're just talking about alchemizing, looking at the emotion, looking at what it's highlighting, and then using that to change the current circumstance and go to a new emotion and change the perspective, the ideology, the behavior, whatever. That alchemizing is manipulating. It's taking a negative and making it a positive. So, that is my tangent. I really just wanted to get that out of my system, and I find it very ironic that the second I got this out of my system, I have Wi-Fi again. Because, hi, I'm in the midst of the snow ice storm in the south, and that knocked my power out, but now my power's back, and that just shows me Hermes, Gabriel, whomever wanted me to speak tonight on my little soapbox about this, because I was really meditating about this in the shower. And here we are. I love you guys. I hope I illuminated what it means to be spiritually led versus emotionally more to you. And I gave you some comfort, some advice, some solace, or just a little 2 cents for you to ponder on and decide whether or not you want to spend it and cash into it. I don't know, but I love you. I'll see you. Okay, go blank on me. No, I love you. I'll see you in my next video.